Hallie was born 3 weeks ago in Shawnee Mission, and she was having trouble breathing. She needed a Children's Mercy specialist to determine the problem isn't her lungs, it's her jaw.
Hallie was born with what's called Robin sequence, and it just is a sequence meaning you have a small lower jaw, your tongue is falling back in your airway, and it's causing you to have breathing problems.
We know you're strong, you're ready.
Well, she may have some problems with feeding and maybe a failure to thrive. And the danger of sending someone like that home would be if she has an obstructive event at home while she's sleeping. That could be a potentially fatal event.
Dr. Lipka had seen her, recommended that maybe we should do the sleep study on her, and she has pretty severe sleep apnea, which was a little bit of a shock to everybody, so that kind of sped up the surgery process.
Once we decided to do the mandibular distraction surgery, we want to be able to plan the surgery and work efficiently in the operating room. So what we can do is we can get a CT scan, and from the CT scan we can get a printed exact replica of the patient's jaw. And then we can make marks on that jaw, and we can actually bend these distraction devices on the jaw before the surgery's even done, so we can save a lot of time in the operating room.
Dr. Neil Martis will create a 3D model of Hallie's jaw to help surgeons prepare for the procedure.
They can take that model, and it looks exactly like the patient's actual mandible does in real life. They can use it to mold their hardware. They can actually practice cuts on it, so they can practice their surgical approach on it before they go into the OR. So when they're in the OR, it saves them some time.
So this is Hallie's jaw. This is a 3D printed model of her jaw. So from that CT scan we got, this is an exact replica.
We can print them 5 of the same models. They can practice different techniques, different approaches. They might get a model to show to the patient and the patient's family.
So you see how those plates start separating like that? And then that will just slowly advance the jaw forward.
With a plan in place, Hallie's surgery is scheduled for the next day. For every family, surgery day is tough, but Hallie's team is prepared.
The plan is to do a mandibular distraction, so we're going to make cuts in the lower jaw, and then we're going to place distractors on, and then we're going to slowly advance the jaw over a period of a few weeks. So the operation today is to mobilize the jaw and place the distractors. The lower jaw, it's not going to change position today, but over the next few weeks, as we slowly turn those devices, it'll advance the jaw. And in advancing the jaw, that should advance the tongue, which will then improve the airway. In the surgery, we're working through a very small incision, and that model can be used as a reference at the time of the surgery. It can be very useful.
Having that model to look at, it gives them a kind of a better view of the patient's anatomy without having to make a bigger incision. They can limit their approach and still feel confident that they're addressing the problem that they need to address.
Dr. Lipka has already fitted the distractors that will slowly extend Hallie's jaw. Thanks to pre-surgery preparations with the 3D model, Hallie experiences minimal time in surgery and under anesthesia with the smallest possible incision.
So everything went well in the surgery. So like we talked about, Dr. Neff, who did the airway evaluation, she put the breathing tube in, and then we proceeded with doing the jaw distraction surgery.
With the distractors in place, Hallie's jaw reconstruction can begin.
Nice.
After her jaw surgery, Hallie is receiving care from specialists in the region's only Level 4 neonatal intensive care unit.
Most other hospitals that do serve adults, they don't have subspecialists that they have here at Children's. For someone like Hallie, in order to receive the surgeries and the therapies that she requires, she would have to come to a Level 4 hospital.
But watching her recovery is hard on Mom and Dad.
It's tough because we were here for weeks on end holding her. And so now not being able to is challenging.
It's a very stressful situation no matter how healthy or sick your baby is, and you're just kind of always on edge, even as you're receiving good news, because you just want everything to be okay. So it'll be okay. Once we get her home, it'll all be worth it.
After a few weeks, Hallie will be going home, and both she and her parents will sleep better knowing she can breathe safely for the rest of her life.
Her prognosis is excellent. The surgery itself went well, the turning of the devices went well, and she's right on track to likely leave the hospital.
I believe that Children's Mercy was probably one of the first hospitals that started utilizing 3D printing. Our entire institution is built around caring for children. All of our operating rooms, all of our ERs, all of our imaging centers, all of that is based around how do we treat children, and how do we treat children as best as we possibly can.
It's pretty rewarding stuff. It's very feel-good type surgery for sure when we do this, and it can be a life-changing operation. Parents are very appreciative. It definitely improves quality of life. It's very privileged to be able to do what we do here.
I'm coming.